You know what? I'm going to say right now, this is the intro. This is the introduction, as Cool Keith said on Lost in Space / Black Elvis. And Caleb asked for the floor for 2 minutes. So, OptimalAudio, you have the floor for 2 minutes to talk about Whole Lotta Red.
Thank you. I'm going to time myself. I just wanted the floor here because I had a really terrible day today. And it was long and it sucked. And I got in my car and I turned the ignition on and my Bluetooth on my phone was still on. And I was playing this album because all I've done for the last 24 hours since this shit dropped is play this fucking album. And it just made me so goddamn happy. And this album has given me more happiness in like the last month than damn near anything I could think of. And it's just like, all I have to do is go on the fucking internet. And this is why I hate the internet, because I just go on the internet and I just see all these trash-ass takes from these dipshits about this album. And it's just like, from first listen onward, from the first second that the intro track comes in and we hear that filthy producer tag, I am just in my fucking zone for like 60 minutes plus. And I know there are like diehard Carti fans or this or that who are not happy with this, and that's just from what I've seen, but I don't know how you can, because this shit's great. There are so many songs. We're all going to talk about all the songs, but like, I just need to get out of the way that like I hate like mainstream hip-hop Twitter. I hate like how quickly you have to call something classic or trash. I hate that like this album was never given a fucking chance from the start. Like a lot of people were always going to hate it because it just wasn't the leaks. And it's like what we got even subverted my expectations, and I couldn't ask for like a better follow-up to like one of my favorite albums. So there's my 2 minute rant. Because honestly, if you don't like this album, just turn off the podcast and unsubscribe from us. Honestly.
Damn.
Yeah, go fuck yourself if you don't like this album.
Living off borrowed time, the clock ticks faster. Living off borrowed time, the clock ticks faster. Living off borrowed time, the clock ticks faster. Living off borrowed time, the clock tick 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 faster. Living off borrowed time, the clock tick
How long have you been waiting for this fucking album? And seriously, I can't describe how much. Like, I had to wait to hear this. Like, it dropped Christmas, like, essentially right when Christmas Eve became Christmas Day, right? Like, on midnight on Christmas Eve, essentially. And I fell asleep early on Christmas Eve. I woke up on Christmas Day. I had to do family stuff. I unfortunately couldn't vibe with it right early on Christmas morning. And, you know, shouts to Carti for making this happen right on Christmas morning, because doesn't he have the interlude on here where it's like, it's been a shit year, I wanted to give everybody something?
Yeah.
And it's been a shit year, and he gave us something. I think he gave us the fucking most energetic possible album. Like, what I get out of this album is fucking energy. Like, just fucking off the wall goddamn energy. The first 6 tracks on this, one of the things, like, I've tried to avoid takes on this, but one of the things I hear is that the first 6 or 7 tracks are like, he's being abrasive. It's not like what people wanted to hear. No, the first 6 or 7 tracks are some of the best shit I've ever heard, period. What he's doing on these tracks is so hard. He just goes for it. It's so refreshing. Like, what I said on RYM in the thread, I haven't really weighed in on the album on RYM. I don't want to write a review of it yet. I did rate it after 2 listens, but is that the Die Lit cover applies more to this album than Die Lit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and the intro to this feels like kind of what like Rocky did on his last 2 or 3 intros, like at least his last 2 intros. What Danny has done on some of his intros is doing the rock star shit, but he feels like, and Danny does feel like he earned it. Rocky, not so much. I don't know. Like, but it's not like an aesthetic thing so much. It's just like he has that fucking like punk rock youth fucking energy in his shit, where it's just. And you would think that having old ass Kanye come in on track 2 would sap the shit out of it. Like, people were worried when they heard that Kanye and Carti were going to be on this, but I think Kanye's verse is really good. Like, Course from the chat had some issues with where it was placed, and I think that maybe it's a little weird being so early on the album, but the beat's amazing. My only issue with the track is that there's not enough Carti on it. But I think Kanye acquits himself really well. It's the most fun Kanye verse in a while. It's a weird flow, but the lyrics are really good. Like, and then just the energy never flags. Like, Stop Breathing is like Young Thug punk stuff. I just think that his delivery is so off the wall, energetic on all this shit.
Yeah.
But at least the first couple, and then like it kind of the future track kind of represents a sort of switch to at May, where it switches a little bit more like Dilate. But there's still like the Vamp tracks, Place, which is obviously one of the leaks, and Punk Monk on that time. Both like there's that little stretch there too where it's more unhinged vocals, and I still think that people were also complaining about the length. I think he still keeps that at least from Dilate, the structure of it, where the songs are short. So the fact there are so many of them, and the fact that there's so much variety in his flow, makes it that you never get exhausted.
Yeah, and Christian, I'm gonna let you talk. I promise.
No, I'm sorry, we hogged this one.
No. It's I think there are, and one thing I didn't get in my original unfocused rant. One thing I didn't get across is just how many moments on this album put a giant smile on my face.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like,
Vamp
I mean,
Anthem,
just
when the beat from Vamp Anthem.
Oh my god! But it's just like even when like Bino comes in and it's like so, I can't even describe the beat to that song. But it's
actually
just,
that's like 3 beats in a row. Also, we need to let Christian talk at some point.
Yeah, it's been like 6 minutes and he has.
I know. We have a guest on this episode, by the way. TooBrokeToCare, CB the dog, formerly Christian. He is not that on RYM. I always get everyone's RYM name wrong. Or you know what? TooBrokeToCare, please tell us what you think about this album.
Yeah.
So I have to riff off of what Caleb said before about mainstream hip hop Twitter. It is truly a cancer. Like there were people like if you listen to the full album and you don't like it, that's your prerogative. I can't tell people how to feel about stuff. I think it's kind of weird that you wouldn't like it, but to each their own. That being said, there were people within 10 minutes of Carti putting up his tweet saying trash, or on Instagram on that corny ass rap page. Everybody like 10 minutes after the album dropped, everyone's like trash. I'm like, bro, it's been 10 minutes. You at best heard 4 songs if you played it the second it dropped. Like, come on. And like, there's a picture, my new picture on my account on RYM is like, it's somebody talking about how like they're reviewing the album in real time, talking about like, you know, they're making an evaluation of it off of track 7. And I'm like, bro, it's a 24-track album. You don't need to rush these takes out. You can just take your time, listen to the full thing. Even if after one try, you're like, I fucking hate it. Okay, all right, hey, you have bad taste. It's cool. But like, I mean, just listen to the full thing. Like, god damn.
I will say real quick before Christian, you go back into your take. I know that to someone who genuinely doesn't like the album right now, us three, we sound as insufferable as the opposite coin. But you have to understand that me specifically, I know Christian too, Patrick maybe less so, but all the collective we who like this album has seen in the last 48 hours is people crapping on this album who really, honestly, when it comes to event albums like this, it's from a lot of people that never gave a fuck about Carti to begin with. That's my biggest problem. Playboi Carti didn't really ask I mean, who knows? Maybe he did. He loves it. He's a huge star. Playboi Carti, like, even when Die Lit came out and it got shit on by a bunch of people, retroactively canonized, people like Carti wasn't as huge as he is now, but because the Whole Lotta Red hype has been such a thing for like almost 2 years basically 2 years at this point, from like the second Die Lit dropped, Carti has just turned into one of the biggest things. Like it was always going to disappoint people. We talked about this all. Like, unless you are fucking Drake or like Travis Scott, your album when you're a big star is always, or like Taylor Swift, I don't know, like your album is always going to disappoint people in like the general public music listening context. And so when Carti drops, the nerds who only like Die Lit but don't really like trap fucking hate it, and the people that, you know, like Carti in the mainstream context or hopped on the bandwagon, whatever it might be, hate it. And it's like, some of us are just out here happy that Carti dropped music because it makes us happy. That's where I am.
I kind of thought of an analog for this is like Blonde, maybe.
Yeah. And the Life of Pablo, I feel like, too.
I think Blonde more than Pablo, because I feel like Pablo didn't have as many... well, Frank didn't give us any footballs. Like, I guess Kanye gave us, like, a few, but Frank didn't give us any false leads. Like, Frank went dead radio silent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kanye, and also Pablo, as weird as it is, and we've talked about this the other day, I think, Pablo does lead off with Ultralight Beam, which is, like, one of the more accessible tracks on there, and a fan favorite from the jump, right? Like, and the singles, people were like, "Oh, this is the old Kanye. Like, we love this," you know?
Yeah, that's like, exactly why I think Pablo set itself up for being so, like, initially it didn't get that good reception because it was such a jarring album by comparison to what people thought it was going to be. And in 2016, people really hadn't ever heard an album sequenced like that in hip hop before. I
didn't even think about
like
this
shocked.
I didn't even think about this until you said that. But do you think Kanye initially, like, actually actively set himself up to, like, challenge people to be pissed off by giving them the old Kanye with Real Friends, No More Parties, and Ultralight Beam as the opener, and then give, like, Ultralight Beam leads into Bleached Asshole?
Yeah. I don't think that was his goal necessarily, but I think as time went on, he was like, okay, this is going to be like a total, like, I'm going to fuck with people doing this, so he just went with it. But I think he's had his hand in the pot with so many different styles of music that he just didn't want to concentrate on one single sound for Pablo and decided to go for, like, all these different sounds plus new ones, and he sequenced it in, like, this, like, kaleidoscopic way that ended up working, but it was just such a new concept for music at the time. Like, it was just so weird. But then when people got used to it and they, you know, then people started to appreciate it.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like this album. That sounds exactly like this
right.
album.
Well, I mean, and Kanye was involved with this, and I'm wondering how much he was involved with this. Like, people, again, were scared of the Kanye involvement, but I'm wondering how much he was involved. Was it just the verse? Did he have any hand in the sequencing?
I mean, allegedly executive produced, but how much does that mean?
Like, you know, Sean Carter allegedly executive produced Fish Scale.
Yeah.
I feel like his involvement, honestly, was probably some behind the scenes shit, because, like, Carti was airing out his label on that album, and then
like that's why we have the interlude on Control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, he said he wanted to sign Pierre, the label wouldn't let him. That's so crazy.
Yeah, and I feel like Kanye probably swooped in behind the scenes.
I wonder if that has anything to do with Kanye's label rants. I wonder if that has anything to do with Kanye's, like, pissing on the Grammy and the toilet shit.
That's exactly what I think it is, to be honest. Because he literally said, I'll promise to, I'm paraphrasing, but, like, we're going to get the album out by this weekend. That's in Kanye's verse. Like, just swooped in at the last minute to help Carti get the album out.
And you know what? If Kanye West got us Whole Lotta Red by the end of the year, I don't care what else Kanye did this year.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like, all the other shit he did doesn't really matter. How long have we wanted Whole Lotta Red?
Right. And did any of us, three of us, that is, expect? I mean, me personally speaking, as someone who, you know, coming off his previous album being one of my favorite albums ever, and his the Leaks bootleg being just also in my like top, I don't know, whatever the fuck, 50 things ever. Like, to subvert my expectations, even though I was trying to temper them the best I could, and still make like this fucking album that, once again, let me reiterate, just never fails to put a smile on my face. And I've listened to it probably about 7 or 8 times since I dropped at this point.
Was
I'm
weird.
probably in the teens at this point. So yeah.
I've only heard it 4 times in full, but I want to hear it a million more. It has that quality in common with Die Lit, I think. And the other quality it has in common with Die Lit is that it's a nihilistic, depressing album that still feels happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little, I think closing with I Feel Like Dying is like a little more overtly like, has that like tinge of melancholy too. It's like the sample and everything. But for the most part, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, but like just everything, like his lyrics, like even he's doing like the I'm gonna fuck your bitch lyrics, but they're not like happy I'm gonna fuck your bitch lyrics. Like it's just, they're nihilistic. Like again, it has, I don't think he was trying to invoke Uzi on this, but I just keep feeling about EXO Tour Life. A lot of this feels like EXO Tour Life to me. And that's a great comparison to make because that's one of the best songs ever.
Mm-hmm.
I think the two of them, and this is why there's been a rumored collaboration tape for like 3+ years with these two, but they've always been like close artistically and personally, right? Even though they may or may not have had a falling out and then got back together. I don't know. But
I personally think that was staged. But
I agree, but I mean they're fine now. We know that, but they've always been like, even back when they were featuring on each other's shit in like 2016 or whatever. Like they were always to me like kindred spirits artistically.
Mm-hmm.
Like in step with the other.
How brilliant is the beat on Metamorphosis?
Every beat's brilliant, but Metamorphosis beat's amazing.
Not like thrilled about the Cuddy. Sorry, my bad. Die for Guy you were talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, Metamorphosis beat is almost better than any beat on. I'll talk about it when we get to the actual point of this episode. But unfortunately, Playboi Carti had to drop Whole Lotta Red. We had a whole point for this episode, but Playboi Carti dropped Whole Lotta Red. And so, also, Kid Cudi dropped Man on the Moon 3. It's been like this kind of year where it's just like, oh yeah, Man on the Moon 3 came out, and that's been a fucking afterthought. So, but that's better than most beats on Man on the Moon 3. And it's just like he kind of just like looped a Cudi hum, and it's just like when he did that, I was like, I fucking laughed out loud. Same thing.
The Cudi hums and shit are really good. I'm not huge on the Cudi verse, to be honest.
I actually like it.
I liked it a lot.
I liked it a lot, and I'm not normally big on Cudi rapping, but I think he killed that shit.
I don't know. To me, I was just sitting there with like the the Larry David phase, but I will say, it is better than that verse he was doing on the actual song Kid Cudi, which will probably come out in the deluxe. But we don't need Kid Cudi rapping on that.
No.
That song's perfect.
Yeah, like he didn't need to do that on that. Like, let's just get the original Kid Cudi mastered. Like, just don't that.
Like, Nudie killed that shit.
The need to do that, but it was like, okay, you did that, but.
Now here's the thing: if they keep the original song in its perfect form, whatever, that's cool. And then if they add like at the end like 30 seconds of Cudi, fine, like whatever.
Yeah, like get like the best one Cudi bar from that and loop it. I'm sure there's a good Cudi bar.
Or just put like,
you don't need like an
the
actual
original and then put the Cudi version at the end, and then everybody's happy.
People why not? People can laugh at the meme of Kid Cudi on Kid Cudi, and then we can get the original like perfect song.
Yeah. I mean, I see why he felt the need to do it. But the thing is, it's a perfect song as it was.
Right. I do think it's cool that Kid Cudi really fucks with Playboi Carti.
Yeah. And I feel like you can see why, because Carti's style is heavily indebted to Cudi.
Mm-hmm.
Because Cudi made it cool to not have to say shit and sound good.
Hell yeah, no, Cudi's the man. I've had a newfound appreciation for him in recent years.
I disagree. I disagree with the Cudi take, but I agree with Cudi being like.
I feel like you're like souring on Cudi, dude.
I'm not. I think most of Cudi's albums to me are like 3-star albums.
I think he doesn't have a good discography, but I think I'm higher on him as an artist.
I agree. Like I said, I like the first Man on the Moon. I haven't heard it forever.
I don't know. That's a trash album. I think the second Man on the Moon's good.
Okay.
I
Well,
like
yeah,
all Man on the Moon albums, but
look, I haven't heard either in a while. I think
Kids See Ghosts is obviously his artistic.
right. That's my point.
Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying is very, very good, even though it's over long.
I don't remember that album, so I don't have much to say about it. But I have
it's like his redemption song after Speed and Bullet.
It's got a really, really good Pharrell song on there. It's got the first 3 or 4 songs on there are his best work, period. I highly recommend that album, Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying. I think that's what led to him being able to do Kids See Ghosts. Like, there's a real sense of him finding himself on that artistically and personally. I don't know, like.
I wouldn't say I'm souring on Cudi. I don't think I've ever been like a Cudi fan outside of Kids See Ghosts and like some songs here and there. I appreciate Cudi a lot on certain tracks and features and stuff, but I don't know. And Man on the Moon 3 didn't do that much for me. It wasn't bad, but it just didn't do that much for me. And
I guess
I think
do we want to transition now since we're talking about that was an album that
can I just make a point about A Whole Lotta Red though?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
We're not done with A Whole Lotta Red. We're never done with A Whole Lotta Red, but
yeah, no, go for it.
Yeah,
okay.
Continue.
So I think my biggest problem with how people are reacting to it though is like everyone like what incentive does he have to re-release leaks? Like it would end up inevitably underwhelming people because it would just be the leaks.
Oh, you just released the shit that you leaked. Yeah, that's the criticism you get. Oh yeah,
exactly. It was a no-win situation. But people, I think the most unfair thing is because of those leaks, people acted like Carti owed them a certain sound and that he had to make a certain project, and they didn't give him a fair chance to make what he wanted to make. So a lot of people went in with preconceived notions of what it should be for no good reason, and because it wasn't that, they're freaking out.
I think a bigger criticism of the internet overall is the idea that artists owe them anything.
Owe them something. Thank you, Jesus fucking Christ! It's the worst. Like that's what I saw on social media that night. Was that or people, and like I said, there are people that I saw tweeting about the Carti album being trash or whatever. Like, oh, are we gonna be honest about this Carti album? Like, it's so trash. I'm like, I have never ever seen you once tweet about Playboi Carti or any music that sounds like Playboi Carti, or even in the same vicinity as Playboi Carti.
I was seeing people on Twitter saying stuff like, Carti, we just wanted the leaks. You know, you totally fucked up. Like, this wasn't, you know.
I mean, these are just people who are looking for clicks. These are just fucking vultures. Like, these are people who are just fucking vultures because they knew saying Carti would get them clicks. Like, these are people who their opinions are not even, they're beneath contempt. They're not.
It's such a cool thing to hop on. Like, I keep saying this, but with like general mainstream hip hop Twitter that like just permeates all the trending and shit. Unless you are literally like Drake or Travis Scott, your album is going to probably get trashed on or you're like a somewhat big artist, but you're not huge yet, and your album wasn't really anticipated much. So people are like, oh man, this shit's good. Like, oh, we're surprised that Lil Baby has a good album, like before he blew up this year.
Also, we're surprised you have a good album take is so pandering.
Pandering, yeah. It's all, but then when, and this is, I'm saying this because
that's really funny because one of the topics I have for this episode is surprises, like surprisingly good albums.
No, but it's the way that you say it. You like, for example, look, man, I love Griselda, but you don't need when the 7th Griselda project comes out in a year and people are like, oh man, these dudes are better than everyone else. It's like, no, they're not. They're consistent. They're good. Some of their projects are great as fuck, but like, fucking relax, dude. And they're gonna go shit on like, you know, this album that was well thought out, took a while to make, and has incredible production and vocal performances from an artist that is so unique. It's like, come on, man. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
I just think that it's great that we finally got Whole Lotta Red, but it's also terrible because the internet, even though this has been such a shit year, and I think that Carti I think Carti could have dropped it at any point, but he was just like, you know what? This has been such a shit year. It's Christmas. I'm going to give you a Christmas present. And because this world is such garbage, the internet is such garbage, they were just like, we're going to nitpick this.
Yeah.
We're going to see everything we can find bad about this.
6 months, and people, Dial-It is the same shit. When Dial-It came out, people were on Twitter trashing Flatbed Freestyle when Dial-It came out. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Nicki Minaj on this album.
Right.
And then
people were
before that, the
trashing.
self-titled had the same.
The self-titled. People only liked Magnolia. I swear, it's so predictable. It'll turn. It'll turn. We're on the right side of rap.
We're on the
my
right
album
side of
is.
history.
It's just I heard it. I'd never heard anything like it. I woke up at like 2:00 in the morning just to listen to it, and I just right after listening to it at 2:00 on Christmas Day, I'm like, I gotta listen to this again because I don't know what the fuck.
I'm glad you said that because Chatter Look a Ghost said, how does TooBrokeToCare say that he's listened to this 10 to 12 times after it's been out for like 16 hours?
Oh, no. So, yeah, I literally woke up at 2:00 in the morning to listen to it, and I listened to it consecutively 4 times on the first day. So, like, I'm nuts. Like, I've listened to it like 3 or 4 times today.
I believe
from the
you.
top down.
So, I did say. I said I would call him out for it, and I did. And I believe you. So, but
yeah. Overall, I guess do we want to just say our favorite tracks real quick?
Die for Guy. That's my favorite song on there. It's amazing. The Black Flag reference that just solidified it for me. I was like, oh my god, he is actively doing the punk rap thing. This is fucking sick.
Which one has the mask like MF Doom?
Is that? Hold on, let me pull up the track.
That's isn't that on Metamorphosis?
Is that Metamorphosis? Because I I love the Jump Out the House is one of my absolute favorites because the way it comes into it.
Yeah.
And so Jump Out the House for sure. I love the fucking energetic delivery on that. Metamorphosis because of if it has Mask like MF Doom. Also,
I thought that might be Stop Breathing, but I could be off with that.
On That Time is crazy. Shout out to Horse because he said that was his favorite track.
It's a great song.
Rockstar Made is ballsy as fuck to start with.
Love that song. Oh my god.
First of all, every filthy beat on this album is ridiculous. Shout out to him for getting placement on an album like this. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
he raps his ass off on Punk Monk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
There's no filler. It's 24 tracks with no filler.
I think my favorite overall, it's funny because my favorite might be a leak. New Neon, because Neon has been one of my favorite Carti songs like since I heard the leak. So that was just destined to be one of my favorite. But I think, like I said, Feel Like Dying, the 2 Pierre tracks.
The beat on I Love You, I Hate You is crazy, by the way.
That is that I Love You, I Hate You is in my top 5. And Over is in my top 5.
Yep,
Over is incredible the way that's. And then I think Beano or Sky. I don't know. I think Beano probably would be to round out my top 5. Sky's crazy though. The way that hook and the way it comes on and he's doing like the crazy like ad libs and then he's talking about like he's I could fall from the sky and I won't feel nothing. Like that shit's so dope.
Like I think the best thing about this album is just this is a phrase that, I feel like I bring up whatever I'm reading or listening to the podcast all the time. I'm reading this Henry Rollins book, and he always uses the phrase about, like, music he loves, that the vocalist just goes for it. Mm-hmm. I think Carti goes for it on this album all the fucking time, like, front to back. And that's ballsy as shit, because there's just, like, a tendency for popular rappers, popular vocalists, popular anybody to just kind of be complacent. And and that's what Frank Ocean could have done too. Like, that's why I go to the Blonde comparison. Like, people are waiting on you for a long time, and you could have been safe.
And you start your album with
Nikes. Safe on this album.
You start your album with Nikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
there were complaints. I'm pretty sure there were complaints on the RYM thread about the fucking Frank Ocean album. Was like, did he forget to master this? Was this like done wrong? Like, did he like mess this up? Like,
it kind of reminds me of Yeezus too. I had a friend of mine who thought that because he got the leak of it, and he thought that the file was like corrupted when he heard On Site.
Dude, wait. People on Twitter also were comparing this album to Yeezus like that's a bad thing. The fuck are you talking about?
It reminds me of Yeezus in that it's like the hardest mainstream album and since Yeezus, in all honesty. As far as being like,
I think that it's like I guess that rock star idea of the weird thing about it was Sun Ra, one of my favorite music writers, who also put out a great beat tape called Take a Kayak. Wyatt never listens to me when I tell him to put Bandcamp links about artists I like in the description, but maybe he will this time. Shout out to Sun Ra. Talked about how Yeezus was like a more rocky album, but a less rockist statement than Twisted Fantasy, because Twisted Fantasy is kind of like a prog rock album. But this is more of like a cold post-punk thing, like kind of more of like a 80s sort of. Is what I'm saying making sense? Like it's like a more of a removed sort of thing.
Yeah, it has like it sounds like if Skinny Puppy made a rap album, you'd kind of get.
Like he's definitely trying to tap into an industrial sort of thing. I mean,
it's a lot of things.
It's a lot of things, but that's what makes it so cool. It's just so bold.
Like
I was thinking too. You have to
like he takes like Billie Holiday talking about a lynching, and that's equivalent to bitching about alimony.
And the thing is too, like people can't like they gotta stop looking to artists as having some like deep insights about stuff. They're like. It's
that's
ignorant
another
album.
thing that was coming up when I was talking about this shit was that people looked at Kanye as having some greater insight. Nah, he is just some dude. And what makes it more fascinating is that he thinks he does. So you can kind of remove yourself and look at it as somebody who thinks he does. And he's a great musician, so he can have great musical insight, but he's just some dumbass. So you can kind of laugh at the dumb shit he thinks is insightful.
No, yeah. I think his heart's in the right place, like net wise, like it's net in the right place. But I think he misses a lot too. But I think I also
more
don't
so
care.
Time.
Just
more so with time.
Yeah.
But overall, I think we've kind of summarized in small detail what makes Whole Lotta Red so good and why the internet sucks.
I want to say one more thing about Whole Lotta Red though. The cover. I think a lot of people miss that it pays homage to this magazine called Slash Magazine. It was like a rock magazine in the 70s. That's exactly how the cover used to look back then. And I found this out online. I didn't know about Slash prior to this. But like that's like he's actively paying homage to that scene, with like the garage rocks, like punk rock era sounds and stuff, and like aesthetic. Like he's paying homage to that like throughout the whole album, like stylistically and aesthetically. Like it just is really fucked up. People just like they went for like microwave music and then they didn't get it, so they're freaking out. But
okay, I looked it up. Yeah, I see the cover, and that's 1-to-1. You're right.
The cover is so sick. It's a beautiful cover art.
It's dope.
People are shitting on the cover art. They're like, I don't know if this flies, but yeah,
because they didn't take the time to they didn't take the time.
But yeah.
In any case, what. I don't want to hog up too much about Playboy Carti. I love the album.
We only hogged up about like we owned that Whole Lotta Red drop. We were going to take about an hour in the intro to do an emergency Whole Lotta Red, but the initial concept of this episode was that we were going to do a part 1 to our end of the year, where we're going to do a 2-part end of the year. We have a very special guest for our end of the year episode. But for this one, it's not going to be our top 10. It's going to be our honorable mentions. Also, our surprises, what we didn't think was going to happen, and also our disappointments. So we're just kind of going to throw things out there, and I'll throw it out there since we took so much of the floor from our guest, TooBrokeToCare Christian. I'm going to throw it to you. We normally start on our end of the year with the worst of the year. So what was your most disappointing thing that you heard? Not the worst, because we already know that was Mr. Mathers. But what's the most disappointing thing?
Let me look back in the annals of what I've rated for this year.
The old ratings, yeah.
Because I've listened to a lot. I loved this year for music overall.
That's the
but
thing. It took me a little bit to look at like things that were disappointing. Like, so I mean, I have some weird crossover stuff too. Like in my list, I have some things that are marked surprise / disappointment. So I think we're gonna have some interesting discussions.
All right.
My worst of the year literally has 2 things. Well, 3, but
I think it's subtly disappointing. I think like it would have to be The new Chance the Rapper tape, the Merry Christmas Little Mama sequel.
Oh, he made a whole tape of that crap. Oh, I heard it said
But
trash. Yeah, why are you
the
listening
thing
to
is
Chance
too
the Rapper tapes?
the thing is I barely made it through, to be honest. But like I don't think I actually finished it.
Oh,
but,
somebody served me this whole plate of steaming garbage and I barely finished it.
But the thing that made it so disappointing is that he knows he has a lot of damage control to do, post
Big Day, yeah,
Big Day. And then he not only like makes a bad album, but I believe only 2 tracks on there are actually new, and the rest is just like a reskin basically of the exact same tape from before.
So he did lazy damage control. He wasn't like, I'm going to do new good things, because he could do 6 good freestyles real quick over something. Instead, he was just like, I'm gonna lazily just throw some shit together.
Yeah, and that's bro, you have a lot of damage control, dude, because that album was trash. And then you come and I know it's not a core project for you, but even so, man, when you come that bad, you gotta you have to come with some good shit if you want your respect still. Otherwise, you're gonna get Eminem'd out here.
The problem is Eminem didn't get Eminem'd out here because he still has people. Eminem doesn't even need to buy a street team, because Eminem will still have 13-year-olds and still assume the fact that his multis, where he goes on for 4 minutes about shitting in a teapot, and then that's called a peapot, and that's a hot pot, because he just I don't know. I can't even do fake Eminem shit rhymes anymore, but you know what I mean. Chance the Rapper sucks.
Actually, I think I found a new
Chance the Rapper mixtape. I have no sympathy for you. I don't want to talk about Chance the Rapper on the show or Eminem. The most disappointing thing I heard this year was Lil Wayne doing No Ceilings 3, because, first of all, No Ceilings 2 was trash.
Yeah.
And then he did it with DJ Khaled. Why are we doing mixtapes with DJ Khaled?
A long mixtape, too.
And then it's not a bad mixtape. It's just extremely long. The best song has him getting shown up by Drake. That's not a good look. And then his B-sides are better than the actual mixtape. So it's just a general, I don't know why this happened. It's just kind of a saving face thing after he decided that he wanted to be on the Trump train. I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of a... Is Lil Wayne going to jail, by the way? What happened with that?
I'd imagine so. I mean, at this point, Wayne's a legend, but I can't really... Carter 5 came out, I peeped it, I liked it, and I just don't really look into Wayne at all anymore after that. He just is, so out of touch. It's kind of ridiculous. He's still got talent, don't get me wrong, but just, he just seems so just... I don't know. I know exactly what to expect from him anytime he puts something out at this point. So I didn't even listen to the No Ceilings tape, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, well, that was a real scenic route to get to that.
Sorry.
Yeah, you did listen to the No Ceilings tapes, Optimal, and
I did. The second one was a little better than the first one. The first half was okay. The second half was trash. Well, not all the way trash, but mostly trash. It was a pretty mediocre mixtape to me. The second mixtape was better, but to me, it still isn't going to rise above hey, this is a pretty decent mixtape. I'm not going to listen to it again, sort of deal. Versus the run he had in 2018 of the dedications and the Carter 5. I still play some of those songs every so often. Those were really good projects.
Reinvigorated artist.
Right, I mean, those were dope as hell, and deservedly got.
He's just going back to old Wayne again.
It's funny because I don't know if it's old Wayne, because I don't think it's bad music. I think on songs the rapping is there, the hooks might be there.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just
some songs the vocal performances are bad, and some I don't know if it's.
Well, if you think about it, the old shit where he sounded really, really tired was Dedication 3, the whole shit where he's with Birdman, where he's clearly on so many fucking drugs he can't stand straight, and that's the terrible shit. And then now it just feels kind of like he doesn't know what he's doing artistically or personally. And it just, there's no direction. Like Carter 5 was like, it's a miracle that turned out so well. The dedication stuff felt like he got in the studio and just wanted to be motivated because there were just beats thrown in front of him, and it was like a 2 or 3 night session, and he was just really fiery and shit came to him. And the Carter 5 stuff was just like cherry picked over the best stuff over however month period, I guess. Or year, I guess. I don't know how, like, that, those sessions, like, you know how that is. Like, Carter 5 was weird.
Can I real quick change my most disappointing album? Because I have a new one. It's not even hip hop or anything, but it's It would be Green Day's "Father of All." I forgot that even came out.
How is that most disappointing?
Yo, how could that be the most disappointing album when it didn't have any auto-tune? It didn't have any Swedish producers
and no trap.
Any trap beats. You know, it was raw as fuck, dude.
I guess it's because despite all of that, all of those great things, it still sucked ass.
Dude, that album is fucking horrendous. Oh my god.
And the thing is so sad is I'm not gonna pretend that Green Day weren't good at one. I don't think they were amazing, but they were very good at one point.
All right,
very
Green
interesting.
Day were very actually personally significant to me as a music listener because one of the first cassettes I bought was Dookie.
Yeah, and Dookie's an amazing album. I'll go to bat to say that's a
super catchy. Pulling Teeth, that's a deep cut. Oh my god, she's killing.
And it's like, I think just seeing them this uninspired with how the cover art is just a ripoff of American Idiot, and just how the songs all sound like Monday commercials. I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
We're gonna swear on the cover, okay? And yeah, like it's so like just lazy and sad.
That's why that's so disappointing, because a band that was as good as they were at one point, just totally mailing it in down to the cover, just being like a shit, like just scratch job. I'm like, okay, like why did you? What was the point of making this? You have enough money. If you're this uninspired, don't make this. Like this is so whack. Like come on. That would be my
people were defending them like, oh, well, their label made them do this. You know what you do when your label makes you do shit? You put out a greatest hits.
Exactly. And you throw a couple of new songs on there to just get out of the contract legally.
Yeah, you don't put out a whole new album and do a fucking hissy fit. Like this is just you being performatively punk.
No, 100%.
Christian, I have to ask you: have you heard the artist Corpse?
No, I have not.
Okay, well I heard the single "E-Girls Are Ruining My Life" recently, which is one of the worst songs of the year.
I saw this on your list. What is this crap? What the fuck is this garbage? What the fuck?
That song title is something else.
It's many things. It's not good. I'll tell you that. It's not good. It's Corpse is an artist where we kind of had this discussion in the Discord, but Corpse basically is like some lame who just uses like really trendy, like halfway misogynistic, like internet tropes as an aesthetic, sort of. And it does like trap metal, like industrial trap sort of shit. And like usually that, I mean, not the first part, but the second part would interest me a lot. But it was just not. It was not good. It's kind of there's a review. I don't entirely agree with it, but there's a funny quote in a review on the website where it says, "Music for people who think it's socially acceptable to Naruto run through the hallway." And that's kind of funny. It's like it's abysmal shit. It's really fucking horrendous, and I don't recommend anyone listening to it, but just for curiosity's sake, yeah. But it's terrible. It's fucking garbage. But that's a song on an album. But yeah. I mean, albums we know like The Usual Suspects put out terrible albums
this year. I can't listen to this shit. My wife might hear it. This is fucking horrible.
It's stupid.
What the fuck is this crap? No, turn this off.
It's so bad. I mean, the Usual Suspects put out like bad shit this year. Like we had the Death to Mumble Rap sequel. Like we had like
these are they're
The fact that that's
they're related to that. They're related to that.
oh no, they're not related to that. I'm just talking about bad shit that came out this year.
Oh yeah, no.
Like we had the
clearly died because Playboy
two
Carti
fucking
did Whole Lotta Red.
Eminem albums. I can't get over it.
well we had G-Eazy making Supermarket with everything with the David Bowie cover.
While they put out an EP after George Floyd died.
I haven't heard it, so
that happened.
I haven't heard it. So
that even existed.
My long-standing beef with Wale can't.
I haven't listened to it either. I just know it happened.
Yeah. I don't know if that. I mean, look, honestly,
6ix9ine's album flopped.
And thank God for that.
Yeah,
he's still doing fine.
I mean, it was called Tattletales, so you know.
Oh god damn!
I will say. I think on principle, the worst album of the year has to be the Tory Lanez album, even though it's not.
No, the Diplo Bro Country album. Yeah, it's a push.
It's a push. I mean, look, here's the Tory Lanez album musically. I don't think as bad as like Diplo, Eminem, Green Day, whatever.
Tory Lanez actually shot woman.
Right, Tory Lanez on an ethical level, and what he talks about in that album is fucking dog shit. And
but
like,
he's a Daystar though.
It's whatever that is. God, what a terrible. Christian, did you listen to that album?
What album?
The Tory Lanez album. that was that.
I'm sorry, I had to go get my shoes. I'm in my garage right now. Fuck.
Dude, that was a way better response than I anticipated. It's the Tory Lanez Gaslighting album.
I did not listen to the Tory Lanez album. Cruel Intentions was a cool EP, and after that, I just don't see the point in listening to Tory Lanez. I'm gonna be honest.
I agree.
I'm not even gonna agree with you with that, man. Dude's whole career is dog shit, much like his whole life.
I'll say he had a great verse on "What's Poppin'" by Jack Harlow. I'll say that.
Wow! Oh,
I know.
Great thing by Jack Harlow. And what the fuck are you talking about? Shut the fuck up.
I thought that was cool. The remix I thought was cool. I didn't even listen to Jack Harlow's album, but I thought the "What's Poppin'" remix was pretty cool.
Jack Harlow's album is like a sleeping pill in audio form. You don't need to listen to that.
Yeah, like don't make me like jack up the dislikes on this. Like no pun intended, but better punchline than he could come up with.
I don't like Jack Harlow. That's an artist that I do not understand the appeal at all, while also simultaneously understanding the hype, because he's the most like middle of the road artist you can come up with. And even
if you go to the restaurant and fucking Joyner Lucas sandwich is too spicy for you, you order the Jack Harlow.
I heard somebody say that he's popular because he's the white Drake, and I'm like, yeah.
He's the archetype of like, this guy was made in a lab by a label.
He's like the rap version of Maud Flanders talking about Vanilla Ice Milk.
Like Post Malone is spicier than this guy. Maybe. On a given day. Depends.
Well, what was that? About Post Malone?
Post Malone's a little spicier than Jack Harlow.
I think like I'm not a huge fan of Post, but he at least tries new-ish ideas. They're not really new ideas, but he tries things that are out of his house sometimes. I'm not going to sit here and
listen to you fucking defend Post Malone on this podcast.
No, I don't like Post Malone. I'm just saying if it's him over Jack Harlow, I'd take him over Jack Harlow.
That's true.
That's all I'm saying. I don't like Post Malone.
We have herpes and syphilis, and I'd rather not get either.
I agree.
All right, I don't know if you can compare those two to that when you've got Joyner Lucas and like G-Eazy dropping albums this year.
I don't listen to anything they ever.
Well, the Joyner Lucas album.
We also have like fleas and ticks on your dick, so we've got like a whole buffet of things.
Like I will say, G-Eazy has one song that I liked, "No Limit." That was a banger back in college. It wasn't like I liked it, but I liked
the one with the Carti B verse.
Wait, G-Eazy co-opted "No Limit"? Oh my god.
And he had it sampled. It was an interpolation of "Slob on My Knob," and I was like, you know what? The Rocky feature's good. Carti's good on it. He got Juicy J on it.
I have a lot of problems with this.
Well, no, but that was around the time when everybody was doing the "Slob on My Knob" thing, like Future on King's Dead.
I still have a lot of problems with this. You know how I feel about the King's Dead thing.
Well, you know, what are you gonna do? I don't know. Worst shit this year. J. Cole, Snow on the Bluff in the bottom.
Oh my god, that was insufferable. That was the worst rap song I've ever heard.
She should shut the fuck up. Let's spend 4 minutes telling a woman not to have an opinion.
And the thing is, like, she didn't even call him out by name, and he's just that sensitive that he felt the need to clap, and that egotistical that he felt the need, and that sexist. Let's establish that. To go ahead and make that song. And then I'm like, bro, like, this was in the heat of the race riots going on in this country. And this douchebag is charging money for this tone-deaf, sexist shit show song that's just about defending him, literally coming out and saying that he's a total fraud with his woke bullshit. I'm like, bro, just be quiet or say something worth saying right now. Like, now's not the time for your little sanctimonious crap.
Dude, I'm telling you
that he rips off a whole lot. Sit down. Be humble.
And also, I just want to say, Christian, your review slapped for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, your review.
You ever been to a college open mic? That was great.
Yeah, I mean, that was my first impression when I heard it. It was just like, he just sounded like the biggest tool in the fucking room. I was like, Jesus.
Nah, just like the level of fucking sanctimony in J. Cole's voice and that. And the worst thing about it is he made that beat. That's the best beat he's made in years. For that.
I wasn't even a big fan of the beat. It wasn't a bad beat, but I wasn't like loving it. It was just like some acoustic guitar.
It's a cool, like, you don't love it because what he says over it's fucking garbage. If somebody said a good verse over that, it would be good.
With some drums, maybe. There was like no.
By the way,
okay, diction.
I'm just saying, you either got to be like Ka and have a nice dense soundscape that doesn't need drums, or you got to have some drums.
I don't think Ka would devote any amount of time just dissing a woman for existing.
No, because Ka's a good artist. J. Cole's J. Cole, but like,
Can we talk about the comment box where it says, this isn't good, but WAP really has a higher rating than this? And then the next comment is as it should. And as it should has 9 retweets in the comment box.
I would be the 10th if I could. I'm not a huge fan of WAP. I think the beat's a little corny, but like, it's it's way better than fucking Snow on the Bluff. What? Like,
oh my God, not even close. I mean, I like the song. I don't love the song, but there's a
it's all right.
It's a fun song. Like, but I think a lot of it is interesting. I didn't realize how like critically acclaimed the song was. It's on everybody's year-end list. I just did not realize.
It's one of those things though where it's kind of like how do I word this without sounding like an alt-right idiot? But it's kind of like
this is a mistake.
It's like the song's good, right?
Good song.
But I feel like a lot of the people that are putting it, like Pitchfork made it the best song of 2020, and I feel like I feel like they're doing that as more of a like timely political.
It's the context. It's the context
rather than a good music one, because it's a good song. I have nothing against it. I'm not like, oh, these damn women and their sex. Like, it's all good. Do whatever you want. But like the thing is, it's just like
there's some whores in this house.
Yeah, like
oh, you want to talk about worst shit of the year?
I'm cool with that, but like, but it's like, I just thought it could be like a little better. Like, that's it. Like, it's not even a diss. I just like the beat could have been tighter. I've heard better from both of them individually, and it was a good shock factor song. It has some dope lines in it, but
I feel like it's as good as it needed to be for what it was doing. It's not the best song of the year. It's far from the worst song of the year.
Oh yeah, it's not even bad. It's just okay. It's good. It's like,
Yeah, I like both of them on it. I think that they're God, this is a horrible conversation. 3 men talking about WAP. But no, just like context. Like
at least we're not ripping it. At least we're not.
No,
I'm praising. Shout out to Meg. I loved her new album.
Really, I liked Fever a lot more.
Fever's way better, but I thought Good News was really good too. A lot of the songs I wasn't a big fan of grew on me. Like Body is a crazy song. I'm not gonna lie, that hook is like just ridiculous. Like it's not a good hook, but it's just so bold that I can't hate it.
I'm gonna have to give it another listen because I listened to it probably once, and I've heard the singles. Some of the singles I really liked, but I wasn't overall, I was like, this is like cool, but I'm not gonna return to it. Like Fever, I would still play some songs from. Like Fever slaps. But yeah, I think Meg and Carti have really good chemistry. I think for Carti it was really important because she hadn't really done a lot of music in a minute. Because she had real life things going on.
I thought initially when they were promoting, I thought it was going to be a collab tape, not a song. I was kind of pumped for that, but it was just a song.
True. So we are not Ben Shapiroing this at all.
No.
We are just commenting on
living embarrassment.
God, fuck that guy. We are commenting on the context that a lot of publications have put
I think that people decided to trend hump it to not be Ben Shapiro.
It's
the best thing of the year.
Right.
It would, That actually makes it more justifiable to put it as number one. Like when you saw how much the little bullshit conservative super Bible thumper, or I guess in Ben's case Torah thumper crowd, came out and was oh my God, this is horrible. This is ruining the youth. I think it's a good little fuck you to them to maybe praise the song a little too much. I'd rather do that than we all just jump on this is evil. So yeah, I don't mind it being super hyped up then. Fuck it. If Ben would just shut his mouth, we'd have more honest music journalism is the takeaway I'm getting from this at this point.
Right.
Ben, fuck off.
Fuck you, Ben Shapiro.
And let me say, Ben Shapiro was anything but honest. So that's he should.
Ben Shapiro.
I always like to talk about
stick to being bad at politics. Don't be bad at music and politics. Come on.
I always like to talk about one of my favorite podcasts, Behind the Bastards, does a recurring theme show where they talk about the book that Ben wrote, True Allegiance, the book where he writes about terrorism. It's like a action novel. He writes about terrorism where the hero is tall and all of the terrorists are short.
Yeah, it seems pretty accurate.
Just weird that he would.
So much projection right there.
It's crazy coincidence though. Crazy coincidence.
Anyway, so yeah, let's get back to the best and worst music of the year. Go back.
Anything else that was trash? You guys? Are we gonna do Eminem?
Can I do Eminem? Because I have some strong opinions.
Let's go.
All right. You know what? Fuck it. I was going to save Eminem. You know what? There's really been so little absolute trash for the year. We can shit on Eminem and Diplo. So fuck it. Eminem. You know what? This Eminem shit was just horrible. You know why? I would have spared Eminem. I would have spared you, but you gave us a second helping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what pissed me off. The first one was bad. It was predictably bad. It was, dude, stop fucking making music bad. But it was okay, all right, well, that was his little music to remember by. It sold. It went platinum like it always does. This is what M's going to do until he's dead. Okay, whatever. He had that one song where he's rapping really fast. Cool. All right, now stop. We get it. We'll wait another 8 to 10 months until the label forces you to drop again and life goes on. But then he had this maybe the label forced him to do it, but he had the audacity.
I don't think anybody forced him to do this shit, dude. I don't think anyone.
I don't think so either. But he had the audacity to drop side B as if side A was going to justify that.
The nerve, the gall.
And it's literally his second worst album. The side B is the second worst thing he's ever put out besides Revival. And I'm just how do you make an album this bad after you just made an album this bad? And it's Tone Deaf is the worst beat I've ever heard any established artist rap over. I'm bro,
I think he's trying to make a point with it. When I was okay, all right. So seasoned listeners of this podcast will know that I previously did a podcast where I listened to the entire oeuvre of the Insane Clown Posse, an artist much better than Eminem. Who have a much more solid discography than Eminem. And I listened to their worst albums in the car. I also listened to this album in the car, and I listened to the song Tone Deaf in the car. It was as painful as listening to songs dissing Eminem by the Insane Clown Posse over intentionally terrible beats. And this was 20 years ago. And I feel like this is just as bad. And he has no excuses. I don't know what the fuck he was fucking thinking. I think he could claim a metatextual joke on this. I don't know. like the Pistofferson thing. I think he could be like, oh yeah, you say I make dad jokes. Here's a dad joke. Like I think that's why he's doing this shit.
That I can see, but there's nothing to excuse that beat. That beat was just.
Oh yeah, and the fucking Alfred's theme where he does just the fucking loop of the Alfred Hitchcock theme.
That was an interesting idea for the first minute, and then it was like 5 minutes long, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, he does it for 5 minutes. I wanted to die. Like, what the fuck?
Like, if the beat went anywhere, I'd be like, whoa, hey, I'm actually cobbled together a half-decent beat for the first time in about 20 years. But then it was just the static loop going on and on and on and on, and the loop itself isn't even that good, but it's a novel thing for the first few seconds, but then it's just like, what the fuck?
He actually found like an actual novel loops. Like he was actually like, oh, I'm doing something with the Alfred Hitchcock theme. Like that's the thing is like he found the theme of Alfred Hitchcock and did something with it.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't really. Like there are stray parts on this. Like the final part of Book of Rhymes is cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
It's like every Eminem album that's not Revival, basically, where there's always going to be a handful of decent ideas in somewhere tucked in between, whereas Revival is just like net crap. But no,
Revival makes. I still remember the first time I heard Revival. I wanted to throw things. Yeah.
I was laughing. I never actually laughed as hard as I did.
Things.
Yeah.
Dude, when I actually stopped. Like if you've read my review of Revival. There's actually, I get to the Pink song and it says fucking zero. I stopped listening because I was actually going to start throwing things.
No, it was remarkably bad, but that was, I don't want to because I will go off on that album if you let me, so I'm not going to derail that.
But this is not that bad, and but this is encore bad. I also think Marshall Mathers 2 is underrated in its badness. Marshall Mathers 2 is pretentiously bad.
I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't like it. It's okay.
No, Marshall Mathers 2 is an album that thinks it's really good and convinces people it's good because it's got concepts, but it just beats you over the head while it's actually really bad, and it's got Rick Rubin. I don't know. Marshall Mathers. We've spent way too much time talking about bad shit on this fucking episode. Let's talk about good fucking albums. All right, I'm going to go to the top of my list. We're not talking about Eminem anymore. Fuck Eminem. All right. All right, you guys didn't listen to any Wrecking Crew, Chris Crack, Vic Spencer, Coop Ma, Jahari. You didn't listen to any of that shit. Carly Rae Jepsen, Dedicated Side B. I know Caleb listened to this at least.
Hell yeah. This is dope. It's not
I didn't even know that came out. I feel like an idiot now.
It came out in the span of time in like a month period in the spring where a lot of shit was coming out that was really good. So you're not like, that's
the thing is, everybody's done this side B shit, like including my favorite artist, Taylor Swift, who didn't do it for cynical reasons at all. But I think that Carly actually had she has a precedent for this. She did it for Emotion.
Yep.
Like I think that she genuinely does this every time. She just writes a bunch of she doesn't do it for stream reasons. Like she just.
Are you saying that Taylor Swift in my best Soulja Boy impression? Stole Carly Rae's whole flow word for word, bar for bar.
I'm actually saying Taylor Swift stole Phoebe Bridges. You know,
Bridgers.
I feel like when Game is trying to make fun of 50 Cent trying to say Scott Storch's name, Scott Scorch. Phoebe Bridges. Her name is Phoebe Bridgers. Learn to say a motherfucking girl's name.
Oh, God. What an unhinged episode. This is great.
But yeah, the Carly album is like number 350 on the RYM list, which is absurd.
A joke. It's a joke.
Rick Wakeman made an album about Mars that's number 90.
I don't even know who that is. So
the guy from Yes, he's the.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, all right. I haven't listened to Yes since like high school, man. So I don't know.
Well, you should definitely listen to an album he made in 2020 about Mars. It's better than Carly Rae Jepsen,
according to
RYM.
Yeah.
Crusty prog dudes. This Love Isn't Crazy is actually my number one played song on Spotify.
It's a really good song. That's an interesting choice for your number one. I mean, like most played, I guess. Yeah,
Actually, when I'm trying to get off work on Thursdays, that's like the top of like I play that in my headphones.
Yeah. No, that's a dope track. One of the best.
I think it's a great album. It actually, at first, people like to criticize these sort of B-side albums for not being cohesive or whatever. But I think that there's actually a real sequence. Like, I think she sequenced that really well. I don't know. I think this album's really fucking good. I think it's better than Emotion Side B. I think it's probably a 9.
Nice.
I think Summer Love is my favorite track. That made shameless plug. I spent a lot of time on a year-end songs list that I published on Medium recently. So, go run that up if you haven't looked at it.
But Medium, they published on Nazis.
I mean, I had to put it somewhere.
Caleb's not a Nazi, but he's good.
I put it on Medium because I didn't want to put it on RYM, to be honest with you.
Shout out to RYM, they publish on Nazis.
They do that too. Yeah, I got the I can't win. Anyway. I'm on platforms with Nazis. Anyhow, that's Summer
the
Love.
Internet. It publishes a lot of Nazis.
Summer Love made my songs list. That's a really great song. The groove on that, the way it comes in, and the whole like hook where it's like, like to get to know you. That whole shit is fire.
Heartbeat is her best ballad. I love that song.
It's a really good song.
Yeah, I think that this has a really good balance of all of her styles. Call the Whole Thing Off sounds like the best song that was never in an 80s John Hughes movie. Let's call the whole thing off. Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound like a John
Danny
Hughes
Brown
song.
episode, you're going to hear a lot more of me badly singing songs in the Danny Brown voice. So
the yappy shit.
I actually do sing parts of I Will.
Oh my god.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that episode.
It's gonna be something.
So, yeah, Dedicated Side B is one of the best albums of the year that is getting, it's not just B-side. I mean, it is, but it's pretty much as good as the album it's attached to. Doesn't just deserve to be thrown away as, like, throwaway stream shit. Really listen to it if you're a fan of Carly's. Carly, as always, doesn't get enough respect. Fuck Taylor Swift. Fuck you. Fuck Taylor Swift in general. Listen to Land of Talk, by the way. In addition to ripping off Phoebe Bridgers, she also rips off, just I'm not talking about Taylor Swift anymore. Somebody else talk about something.
All right, so can I say a favorite album of mine this year?
You absolutely
as long as it's not Taylor Swift.
It's definitely not Taylor Swift. We have established that A Whole Lotta Red's awesome, so I'm not going there. But
yeah.
It came out recently, Brass by More Mother and Billy Woods. Oh
okay,
my!
I think you're familiar with the concept of this episode. Is that this is supposed to be? Okay.
It's supposed to be. Patrick might talk about this album for an hour. He is going to.
We actually have an episode tomorrow where I am going to talk about this for an hour.
Yeah,
it blew me away. I'm sorry. I don't want to derail. I'll save it for your episode tomorrow. But I just want to say. Blew me away. Totally didn't see that one coming, and it's one of my favorite albums at this point.
Yeah, you're going to hear a lot more about it.
It's I will say, just as someone who like Billy Woods is not my favorite rapper. I don't mean that in a bad way at all. But every Billy Woods project is flames. Like I don't know why he isn't like my favorite rapper like ever or whatever. Like a lot of people, I mean, Billy Woods. His music is so good, and he's such a good, smart fucking rapper.
Mm-hmm.
And like his song structure is great, and his hooks are not lazy, and like he's great. And the Brass is amazing. And it's probably, I think Brass and Hiding Places. I think those two, like in the last 2 years, have really been like holy shit good.
Yeah.
But I mean, History Will Absolve Me. I always love too.
He's never put out anything bad.
No. He just he went from great to like holy shit great on his last two projects.
Exactly how I feel.
Right. I know for Patrick, he's been like holy shit great forever, but to me, he went from like really fucking good to like, really, really fucking good.
I feel like he's been a holy shit, this is great songwriter his whole career. I feel like as his albums have been like, wow, this is really good, but never for me personally, other than to an extent Hiding Places, but really with Brass, I was never like, wow, oh my God, that was insane. And Brass, I just like, I've never heard production like that ever in hip hop, ever. Like it's unreal. It's so good. And the rapping from both of them, both More Mother and Billy Woods, is fucking the rhyme, the wittiness, the sharpness, the rhyme schemes, the flow. It's just the whole thing's firing off on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Caught me out of complete left field, and it is one of the best albums I've ever heard. Like, I just had to say that.
It's definitely the best album I've ever heard where you hear about Ayn Rand fucking Alan Greenspan
that
with her gloved hand.
Oh my gosh. It's I mean, like I said, it's something you hear and you're like, nah, that's not a real like album. Like that's not gonna work. And it's like, yeah.
No, but seriously, yeah, you're going to hear me talk about this album at length. It's one of my very, very favorite albums of the year. This was supposed to be an episode about our honorable mentions, not our favorite albums of the year. I don't think I made that clear to our guest. So,
all right.
Okay. It's cool. It's all good.
Can I say an honorable mention then? Sorry to hog if you don't want me to. It's cool, but
no. You can do whatever you like. It's fine.
Okay, so an honorable mention for me that isn't one of my all-time favorites for like music in general or the year, but that I like a lot was "What's Your Pleasure" by Jessie Ware.
Fire.
I haven't heard it, but I know that Optimal loves it. So yeah,
it's a really good. And Jessie Ware, I'll let you go in, Christian. But Jessie Ware was an artist that was always like I thought. I mean, God, I heard Devotion forever ago. Whenever like a couple years after it came out, and I was like, oh, this is a pretty good album. But like her albums after that were really mid to me, and like I just could not care about a Jessie Ware album in 2020. And then she dropped like a fire-ass new disco record. Speaking of which, great year for new disco.
Yo, Kylie Minogue dropped a disco record this year. I didn't know that it happened.
I haven't listened to it, but it's on my radar.
Dude, that album, the fucking the Dua Lipa album was a mainstream new disco album. That was
really good.
Slapped.
Yeah, that shit's good. That's good shit.
Like the singles on that are one of the songs in that Physical is one of my favorite pop songs of the year. That song is insane. There was
apparently Carly disco album that she's like sitting on, Sweat Disco, because that's like the line from the one on Dedicated, Sweat Disco All Night Long.
Well,
she has a fucking like disco album that she's sitting on. So
you could argue that parts of Dedicated and Side B had like new disco elements to it, like
right, like no. So I think, well, I don't know if that's the album she's going to drop with Antonoff or not, but. Because she said that she worked on an album with Jack Antonoff on Quarantine, but she also said she has a disco album that she's been doing while she did Dedicated, so she might have two albums.
Well, also the album was it the Rosin Murphy? Is that how you pronounce it? That album, the Rosin Machine. That's a straight up new disco like album with like some house influence there, and that shit slaps too. That's pretty high up on the RYM charts, I think. I don't know if that's something that I think
I haven't heard that. I'll download that shit.
Yeah, it's really good. It's pretty short. It's under an hour. It's 10 tracks, and it's just like a disco like 90s house like revival kind of album, and that it's really fucking good. So really good year for new disco overall. Like I didn't expect 2020 in like pop music to be like a disco kind of like, you know, synth funk kind of year, but I don't know.
Yeah, apparently there's going to be a third. The fuck was his? I think it's Damn Funk. Is it Damn Funk's like alias drops? I don't want to.
Oh, maybe. I mean, they're pretty consistent. Yeah.
I don't want to go look it up. I think Diction said that Damn Funk has like a synth funk alias that he drops shit with. Not alias. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah,
great radio as
sure.
I try to remember things people said in the Discord. But
Christian, why do you like the Jessie Ware album?
I like how eclectic it is. It's like it's so cohesive. Like it's just the flow of the album is just so tight. But it's so many different styles of dance music in one album done amazingly well. And her singing's phenomenal. It's just awesome. It's just a banger. It's just like a classy sounding, like theatrical sounding banger of an album that's just so fucking good. Like the opening track, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, that track is Spotlight, right? Yeah, that also made my songs list. It wasn't like super high up, but it still was.
It's just super hypnotic sounding.
Crazy good song.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, that's my favorite song on the whole project. That song, when I heard it on first listen, I was like, holy shit, this is Jessie Ware? Like, I just expected the album to be like, okay. And then it wasn't, because I hadn't heard any of the songs beforehand. And I saw one of my like friends on the site gave it a super high rating, and I was like, wait a minute. For one, like, oh, this dropped, and two, oh, this is good, and then it was great. So I can't say I've listened to it that much, but like my favorite songs I've had.
It flirts around with being in like my top 100 personally, because I think it's really cool.
Your top 100?
Yeah. I have a weird taste. Yeah, I have weird taste, but I wouldn't quite put it there, but it's near it.
I guess it's a good time to talk about, what did you guys think of the Avalanche's album?
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was good too. I thought it was quite good. I thought it's easily their third best, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, when your first best is Since I Left You, it's okay to be third best on that.
Yeah. And your second best is Wildflower, which is also...
Yeah. I would put it as their third best too, but I still thought it was great.
I don't know, man. I just don't... Avalanches and Microphones both just kind of... They're good, but they leave me at an arm's length.
I mean, yeah, there are artists, definitely a lot of artists like that for me too.
Where it's like they're very, very good at what they do, but I feel like what they're doing is like very clinical in how they're applying it.
Yeah, I can think of a few artists for me that are like that.
Where it's kind of like what they're doing is like Beastie Boys, Paul's Boutique style sampling, but it's like they're consciously trying to do it. They're not, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to feel like when I'd never heard Microphones before 2020, and it just felt like he was clinically doing it. It was very good. But it didn't leave me with anything resonant where I wanted to come back to it.
It's kind of weirdly... No, after you.
No, that the Microphones album to me felt like an album for the fans in like a good way. Like,
well, I have nothing previously attaching me to them, so I guess if it's for the fans, then maybe it wasn't.
I mean, saying something is like for the fans is kind of a tough thing to say because it's a. But to me, like, that album this year, I mean, it resonated with me, but it's not something I've gone back to that much. But I feel like in just seeing the reception of it and how much like diehard Microphones fans love the album, it seems like it's something where if you're a longtime fan and like you're more of like a devotee to like Phil, you're kind of like, it was an album that was going to be easy for you to like, you know what I'm saying? Like to really, really get into. Like, I mean, one of our, friend of the podcast, guest, Look at Ghost, like that's got to be one of his like couple favorites of the year, right? Because he rated it like 5 stars, I think, on or something like that.
And a 5 from Ghost is rare.
Very rare. Very rare.
Very rare. Very base. But unlike from me, my 5s seem less rare. But
I have the least rare 5s on the site, so it's okay.
But no, like Microphones.
I don't know. Like, I came to them with no previous attachment to the band. I'm like, this is good, but it felt to me a little like one of those Beasties albums, I guess, like Mix Up, which I really like, but where it was consciously constructed, I don't know, where without the emotional attachment, it just felt like something really skillfully done that left me an arm's length. I gave it a 3.5, or a 7, depending on how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no more desire to come back to it.
I think it's a great record. I love the video. The video is
Didn't see the video, so I can't speak to it.
The video is a wonderful like accompanying piece. It's pretty beautiful actually, but it's never. This album is just not something I'm going to listen to. Even like Glow Part 2, I bumped a lot. I mean, but Glow Part 2 I listened to a lot in high school and stuff, and that's a record that I would still listen to today. And it's not that the Microphones record this year wouldn't be that, because it does scratch an itch for me when I'm in the mood, but I'm just not in the mood for indie folk as much as I could have been when I was a little younger.
I've never really been into indie folk, so I can't really speak too much about it. I didn't listen to the album, honestly.
I mean, less so like Decemberist and more so like this kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, Decemberist I found insufferable because it's like, dude, you're from Montana. Why are you speaking like you're from England? Like, fuck off. But, I would say that if we're talking about indie folk, one of the better ones from this year was Phoebe Bridgers' Punisher.
It's a good record. Great singles. Kyoto.
Yeah, Kyoto, one of the best Rilo Kiley single to come out in like 15 years. I love that song. I Know the End is one of the very best songs ever. I think that song really speaks to the year. I think as an album, it doesn't really hold up as a great piece, but I think there are individual great songs on the album.
Yeah, I think it's a good, not great album, and I think the great songs stand out. And it's pretty popular. I'm happy.
No, I'm glad that she's hitting like with people. I think
kind of like she's kind of mainstream. I mean, not like
I mean, they did the cover of Iris. She did a cover of Iris, I guess. That's like pretty big.
People in my personal, like, not like my personal circle, but like, I mean, one of my good friends is a huge fan of hers, but she's been that way for a while. But one of my like people that I just like see kind of on social media in passing, like posting her stuff, like, I mean, she's hit a chord, so which is really good to see.
No, I mean, I'm happy for her. Like, you do like to see that somebody like that can resonate with a larger audience. Like, she's worked really hard, and her body of work is really good. Somebody she has worked with that I don't know I know Caleb doesn't give a shit. I don't know how you feel, Christian, but Bright Eyes came back this year with Down in the Weeds, Where the World Once Was. Good album, not great. Some really good songs. My second most played song on Spotify is actually a song from the Weird to have your first favorite song this year be a Carly Rae Jepsen song, and your second most played song this year be a Bright Eyes song. I don't know what that says about you. Probably that you have bipolar type 2.
Oh my god! The thing that I associate with Bright Eyes is when he had the free download of When the President Talks to God on iTunes. When I was in
that's a
middle school.
Song. I don't know why he did that shit. That's a terrible song. When the President Talks to God, like he does the fucking fake Dylan shit. Like I think he was trying to make a point with that. Like it's a shitty song. I hate that song.
Christian, have you heard the recent? Just because I know you fuck with electronic music sometimes. The DJ Sabrina, the teenage DJ.
It's on my wish list, but I haven't listened to it yet.
I mean, for a 3-hour album, let me tell you something. That shit hit. It's the DJ Sabrina album, best house record of the year. Crazy consistent.
It's on my wish list too.
Yeah, I mean it's long, but I listen to it while like doing other stuff, so like it goes by pretty well. Her like I don't know about her. There, I don't know that I'm not gonna gender them. Their big album on the site, Making Magic, came out a few years ago, is incredibly good. Like so good. And not 3 hours, a little more bite size at about 2 hours. So, but it goes by so fast. They're really good. I've only heard a couple of their projects, but they've seems like they're kind of like the go-to or one of like the best house artists working today, I would say. But I'm not as locked in with the genre as I was a couple years ago, so I have to get back to that.
Well, I definitely want to peep it at some point.
Yeah.
I think this year an album I listened to that electronic wise that came out at the end of last year that I only heard this year, like the tail end of last year. Let me see what day it was specifically. December 6th of last year was the Burial compilation, Tunes 2000.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
That album, that's one of my that's way up there as one of my all-time.
Well, you and I know for a fact, Burial's one of our like favorite artists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So.
I don't care about Burial. Sorry.
No, to each their own. It's cool.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I mean, he's cool. Like I like some of the stuff he did with Tom. I'm not negative towards Burial, but I don't have like.
I feel like you have the same opinion on Fortet also.
I really like the Fortet Madvillain remixes.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Fortet Adam Case remix too. Beyond that, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean, I like Burial more than Fortet, but Fortet's a good artist. Like Fortet has some really good stuff.
I wouldn't say like I just haven't really dug into them like you guys have.
I haven't really listened to Fortet that much, but Burial is just.
I mean, Burial
like it's indescribable how good Tunes is to me. Like, oh my god.
It's really, and it's so great because a lot of like the longtime Burial fans, like, just up until like
Sleep Dealer is really good. Sleep Dealer is a great Burial song.
Oh yeah,
I like the weirdly enough, one of my favorite songs on that is Night Market.
Oh, and that's one that a lot of people didn't like.
Yeah,
yeah,
I love that song. The synth on that is crazy.
That's a really good song.
Oh, it's so good. It reminds me of like some like late 90s trance shit. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, Burial, that comp rules. I don't think of other. I mean, there's so much good shit that came out this year. Goddamn. It's almost like you don't even know where to.
I like the Weeknd's album this year. I thought it was really good.
Weeknd album will be. I'm not sure if it will be on my top 10. It's close. It's got. I mean, dude, the title track is in my. I think it was in my top 20 songs of the year. That song is.
It's a crazy song.
Is wonderful. When the beat comes in after that like long build up, like you know it's gonna come in, and then like that feeling the first time when the beat comes in, like that's a great, and also just my favorite bit is actually the ending bit, like those last 90 seconds where he's just like it cuts out and he's like singing and it's just like pain.
Yeah.
I think it gets forgotten, but the Mac album Circles came out at the beginning of the year.
That was a great album. That was very good.
Very early in the year. Very early.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just because this year's been so fucking long and chaotic that people forgot that it came out this year, but it's really good.
Like there are one or two that I'm not mentioning that are going to be on my year-end list because they can't. I specifically put them on my year-end list because they came out early in the year. Like they might not be things that I've listened to as much, but I wanted to give them attention because this year has been so. Like this year has really felt like it's cliche, but it felt like 5 or 10 fucking years.
It's been the longest fucking year. It's like nuts. Yeah. I've never had a year this long in my life. It's just ridiculous.
So much just, oh, God. And shit that
you're being beaten in the fucking face on a daily basis.
Every day. It doesn't let up for a second.
God. But, I mean, coincidentally, the good music also didn't really let up for a second. for whatever reason that is. And I think it's just maybe artists.
I think that one that was like both surprise and disappointment at once was Sufjan Stevens gave us a bunch of shit. He gave us a really good ambient album that no one appreciated, and then he gave us the album that everybody wanted that no one appreciated, because he gave us like a follow-up to all of his state albums, and also Age of Ads that had a really great single, and then he gave us the album, and the album was kind of long-winded, and nobody really liked the album because the album kind of sucked. But the single was really great. Like, I thought the single was one of the best things all year. Like, I've listened to the single a bunch. America, My Rush Niche.
No, that's a good song. I haven't. Gosh, I haven't heard.
The album's The Ascension, and also the ambient album was Aporia.
Well, I remember we talked about a mid-year.
Yeah, in the mid-year we talked about Aporia.
And I wasn't huge on that one. The Ascension album I liked, but I haven't gone back to it.
Yeah, the Ascension album is kind of like the Flaming Lips album, where I feel like he's kind of doing shit that people liked in the past, and it feels a little flat.
I think there's a bunch of good songs in there, but I would be...
Oh, no, there's good songs on it.
I'd be lying if I said I listened to it more than twice.
I don't know how you feel about Sufjan, Christian, but...
He's pretty good. I liked... it's going to be like a generic thing to say here, because like this is what a lot of people got into him. But Carrie and Lowell was pretty good.
Yeah.
Came out.
Oh, Patrick is a Carrie and Lowell truther. He doesn't really like it.
I'm from CNN. I'm not into that.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I love Carrie and Lowell. It's a great record.
I mean, I actually like Age of Ads and Michigan.
Age of Ads is favorites. Age of Ads slaps. I concur.
Michigan's actually probably my favorite. Age of Ads would be second. I also will defend Enjoy Your Rabbit, which most people really don't like.
That one's that's
an unpopular opinion, but
it's good to have those though. A group that you love, is this the Deftones record? Is that going to make your top?
Oh yeah, Deftones. I think they made a good record that I don't care about because I don't think I care about that type of music anymore.
Interesting. I think Deftones and Hume both released records this year that were like really dope. And I don't know if I'm going to listen. I don't know if I'm going to
records that I just don't care about that type of music anymore.
I think that's fair. I mean, I've listened to the Deftones probably about, I would say over the course of the year, I probably heard the album in full like 3 or 4 times. And I've been like, this is great. But I can't see myself in 2022 being like, oh man, remember that Deftones album 2 years ago? Even though it's probably like my 3rd favorite Deftones. Or like I rate it highly. I just I don't know.
I like
something that I play every day.
But like it kind of like they that sort of sound isn't something that I really go to as much as when I was like a little younger, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I don't have anything
I don't know. It feels
rated on the site, but I listened to like a few of their albums when I was growing up. But they never really stuck with me because the sound isn't something I go to as much anymore.
I mean, the sound did stick with me when I was growing up. Like, White Pony was one of my favorite albums. I like Diamond Eyes was like, I love that album, but I listened to their new album. I thought it was really good. I thought Fantano's take on it. I know we don't talk about that guy, and we're not going to talk about him after I said that, but fuck him. I thought his take on it was really stupid, but I thought it was good, but I didn't care about it. Like, it was good. It gave me nothing to come back to. Like, I just feel like my time in my life to listen to that kind of music is past.
Are there any? I'm thinking about it now. Are there any records that are like older that you listen to, like decades older, like classic vintage records that you got into this year? Anything that stood out to you?
I mean, I was listening to Hawkwind today.
I'm unfamiliar with Hawkwind.
Yeah, they're an old prog band. I just decided, because I'm reading a book by Henry Rollins where he talks about shit he played on his radio show. Mm-hmm. And he mentioned them, and they're an old prog, like, jam band. And I kind of listened to them in the past. They had one live album that I really got into called Space Ritual, and he mentioned them, so I kind of dug up their shit and listened to them today. So as of today, yeah, that was something I got into. I'm trying to think of older shit. Like there's always older shit. Like
honestly, I did not listen to much older shit this year. That wasn't like favorites, you know. Like I listened to a fuck ton of 3 6 Mafia this year because I do that every year. Or like, you know, I listened to a shit ton of DJ Screw in the summer. Some of it for the episode, some of it because
Screw because Screw show.
Well, but not necessarily. I mean, yes and no. Like I listened to my favorite Screw around the summertime every year because it fits the weather so well. So that's kind of like my take.
Screw's amazing. I all Screwed Up has risen into like I'm dancing around my top 10 for me personally.
Yeah, it's very high up personally for me. I love that. I mean, love
rock albums go. I listen to all the classic Guided by Voices shit in the springtime because I think it's very bright and nice and goes well with driving my car around. So like the 90s Guided by Voices, Propeller through Under the Bushes, Under the Stars, I listen to a lot.
I mean, Patrick's gonna. I've only listened to 3 Guided by Voices albums, the big 3 albums, and they're all great. But
well,
I just
3 more than I've listened to.
Yeah, I heard them all in I heard 2 of them for sure when I was in like high school listening to like the indie rock canon and stuff. But they're great. B1000 rules. Like it's great. I can't say I've listened to them.
They have a lot of albums. I'm looking at They're very consistent too.
Albums. Like when we're talking about disappointments, one of their albums this year is a disappointment. One of their albums this year is very good, but they put out a ton of shit. So it just happens.
I mean, they look at their back just pretty good, all things considered. If these scores on RYM are to go by, which admittedly could be a dice roll, but
true. I mean, they're another band, kind of like with Microphones, where they've managed to maintain a really key core fan base over the course of 20
I feel like
years.
There's really nothing that Guided by Voices and Microphones have in common. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying, like, over the course of 25 years, like, you maintain it. Well, for them, it's longer. But,
longer, and they have nothing in common. You really, like, no.
I'm saying fan bases. I didn't say, I'm just saying they've maintained a core. How many fucking indie rock bands that were hot in the 90s still have, like, their fan base, like, caping for them today when they make music? Because the music's probably not good when they make it these days.
Weezer.
I mean, yeah,
Weezer put out now.
They're the most enduring act of the 90s.
Didn't Weezer put some garbage ass album this year?
When
they do that every year.
Since like 2002. Other than that one album, they had that one comeback, and then everything else just fell off a cliff.
Jesus Christ!
I'm pretty sure the one album that everybody likes still fucked.
But
I don't know. No, I mean, there was so much good shit this year. I'm looking through what. Is this the? I mean, Christian, in terms of, for lack of a better term, in terms of like internet music, what are we bumping this? I see you have rated some Rodeo Glow, which
Rodeo Glow is the man. But before I go there, just because we were talking about like vintage stuff, there's just one classic that I wanted to go into that I heard this year for the first time that is just, it's stunningly good. So Alice Coltrane's album Journey in Dananda. I don't know how the hell you say that. That album, I like it more than, I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this, but I like it more than anything that John Coltrane actually ever put out, and it just blows my mind.
Amazing.
Well, is that one of the ones she did with Carlos?
It's Pharaoh Sanders.
Oh, that's the Pharaoh one. Okay.
Yeah. Also a good.
I feel like the Alice stuff is way more overtly melodic. I get why. Yeah, I feel like I resonate more with the Alice shit than the John shit. John is way more abrasive for some, but I can't say that I don't know, because I love so much Sun Ra, and Sun Ra does so much noisy shit that.
Yeah, I like a lot of Miles Davis's live stuff too, and that stuff.
True, like Black Magus is way better to me than anything that fucking Coltrane's done. Like Ascension.
All right, see now we're all right. Hold on. It's a great album, but I don't agree.
No, like I think
I agree.
Sun Ra is better. There's like 5 Sun Ra albums better than anything Coltrane's done, and there's like 5 Miles albums better than anything Coltrane's done. I think Coltrane, and there's like everything Dolphy's done is better than anything Coltrane's done, by the way.
I mean, Miles has been one of my favorite artists for like, since I knew what music was, but I'm not going to sit here and shit on Coltrane. So
I'm not.
Oh, he's the man, and there's no denying.
I'm not shitting on Coltrane, but as an album artist, ultimately, like what emotionally resonates with me, like Coltrane leaves me cold.
I don't know. I think
and it sucks because I know that Coltrane is like a master.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, like, I think I don't know. I think the Alice, first of all, the Alice record that you referenced, Christian, is unreal. So yeah, I agree with you on that. And I think I do like probably like, I don't know if I like Culture. I like Love Supreme more than any Dolphy. I mean, I love like Out There.
Whoa, more than Out to Lunch?
I love Out to Lunch. I actually love Out There almost as much as Out to Lunch, if not just as much. I kind of fuck with Out There just as much. Out There is a sick album. Great cover art too. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Love Supreme. I mean, God, I haven't listened to it in a while, but that's a big album for me, or it was anyway. But no, it probably still is.
It's just
I listened to Miles like
about Coltrane that feels weirdly technical and insular.
Yep, I get the same feeling. It just loses me. I don't know why. I get the same feeling with King Crimson too. Different genre.
Dude, yes.
Okay, I get that with King Crimson. Absolutely.
Yo, dude, Fripp and Coltrane have the same fucking feeling for me.
Yeah, exact same. I'm so impressed by it. It doesn't hit me.
The only time Fripp does shit for me is when Eno is like fucking manipulating his shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Coltrane has songs that really, I mean, he has a lot of songs that really hit for me, but there are songs of Coltrane's that emotionally resonate with me, and I think there are Coltrane bits on other people's albums that floor me and resonate with me as well.
I just can't nothing that like anything Coltrane does is like Dolphy's fucking bass lines, dude. Like
Coltrane on Miles albums is, I mean, it's Miles albums too, but like Coltrane on like those that run of Miles, he was on a couple of those Miles albums in the in Miles's heyday of like the hard bop and like post bop kind of stuff, and he's just unreal. I mean, Miles, I will always prefer, and In a Silent Way is like one of my 5 favorite records, has been forever. But Coltrane still, like, I don't know, the first like few notes of like the first track on Love Supreme, like Acknowledgement, like that song will always resonate with me. So I get the whole technical stuff. I kind of feel that way about Ascension, the Coltrane album. Ascension's
super long solo.
Ascension's a great album.
Brain, and Maggot Brain is the best guitar solo of all time.
I agree. That album is on fucking real.
Ascension is a great album that I feel the technical thing that you guys are saying. So I'll give you that. But there are other Coltrane records that I absolutely love that I don't just get the technical feeling from.
I mean, and also, I don't know, like jazz, I just need to feel some sort of emotional component to it, and that's why the Ra shit hit me first. Like Sun Ra, Sleeping Beauty, that, what the fuck is the album?
Which,
There's Sleeping Beauty's on what the fuck is on? I can't remember this.
Back to
Internet music.
internet. I guess
We have
internet.
like a 40-minute jazz interlude.
I mean, honestly, it's pretty. This is a pretty dope episode, if I do say so myself. We are covering a lot of ground.
Jazz is great. I haven't listened. I didn't listen to enough jazz this year, I will say, to bring it back to.
Well, I mean, if you want to listen to modern jazz, the Nels Cline Singers put out a dope ass album this year. So, Nels
Dude,
Cline,
I am so
modern jazz guitarists. So,
thank you for the recommendation, because I am so far behind on modern jazz.
I'm really far behind on modern jazz.
I mean, I don't really know much about it, but I know Nels Cline is one of the best modern jazz guitarists, and yeah, the Nels Cline Singers put out some good shit this year, and obviously more Mother from Brass, which we briefly talked about this year. Circuit City, she put out a free jazz album this year, so definitely check that shit out. Idris Akamor, another free jazz album. Shaman, Irreversible Entanglements, that's another more Mother project. She does spoken word over free jazz. Who Sent You? So that's another jazz album. So we got some other jazz shit for you.
Should we? Can we get Keisha Plum on a free jazz spoken word bit?
Talking about pulling an AK out of her pussy.
I'm down. I'm about it.
And the next song is just tap dancing on the track.
I pulled an AK out of my pussy, and then you can't push me.
I guess it's a good time. I know I did bring up internet music, but I'll talk about Griselda first, because I know I had a tiny dig at them and their fan base early in the episode, but they're really great. And their fan base kind of pisses me off, but they're really good. Some of the stuff later in the year
is going to be getting us even harder because Makami's part of their crew again. So.
I mean, look, some of their shit lately, like some of the West Side stuff lately, has been cool, but like we don't really need it. But at the beginning of the year, they were putting out fucking heat, and Pray for Paris, great record.
We've talked about it a lot on the show.
Yeah.
Outstanding record.
Great record.
I think people are going to forget about it because it came out so early in the year, and Westside put out 2 lesser records.
Yeah.
They're still good records, by the way. But
the one with all the skits was like okay, but the one after that was good.
Yeah, I feel like Pray for Paris was kind of the peak of what he could, like, we talked about it on the Rock Marciano episode, which people, if Why Pussy is out in order, will be hearing after this episode. So when I was talking to you in the Discord about I don't know how to pronounce the word, things that are going to sound out of order when I say them on the episode, this is going to be one of those. Things that I said on the Rock Marciano episode, fucking the track on Pray for Paris with Rock.
Yeah. Oh, $500 ounces.
Yeah, one of the best tracks of the year.
I agree.
Yeah.
Rock, that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite rock verses ever. I said it in the episode. That's a rock verse where I could give you damn near the whole verse. Like the part where he talks about the seats in the Benz look like Lenny Kravitz skin is so fucking funny. Oh god, he goes from talking about like yellow Bugatti look like a bumblebee, but like something about the muffler heat, and he's talking about like sacrificing people to praise deities or something like that.
I love Tyler's verse. I hate that people hate Tyler's verse.
Well, on the album Pray for Paris.
Yes.
No, he had a great verse.
It's a great verse. People didn't like it because
that's so corny.
People don't like it because he
does the singing thing and then the Safdie shout out and all that. Like,
I mean, he said he, being comfortable within himself. People don't like that.
Yeah, like
I feel like the Griselda fan base and the Tyler fan base don't have much overlap.
I think they would though, because I don't know the way like they're both flash. Like, I see what you're saying. But they should. If you see what I'm saying.
I mean, Yeah, I get some of it would be that way until you get to the music. And I just feel like Griselda's music is like the grimiest stuff since Wu-Tang, and then Tyler's like just not like that at all. Even though like their aesthetics are similar.
No, like not the most recent Tyler stuff for sure.
His older stuff, yeah. No, yeah, his older stuff.
Yeah, like check my French. Like French sounds a lot closer to what, than like Eeyore. But
yeah.
Either way, I thought the verse
great artist. I just something I noticed.
Sorry, what?
I said that's not a knock to Tyler for me. He's a great artist. It's just I don't think there's much overlap between the two. So I feel like
I think that's the West Side for putting them on there. And also, Joey has never sounded this good to me. Like at least since 1999.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to much Joey Badass anymore.
That's to your credit because he sucked.
But that was a really good Joey verse. The first one
great on that.
The first one I've cared about in like 4 years at least. I mean, just I know, like I just said, Chris, we touched about Rodeo Glow earlier, one project might be in my top 10. I'm not sure, but in terms of his whole year, he went crazy. There's a lot of music I discovered this year just operating that headspace that goes crazy.
Yeah, Rodeo Glow, like he had Got It Out the Trance and BlvckHevrt.
Yeah,
those two just stuck with me. I've never heard anything like what he made. I've heard people attempt it, like a similar sound, but I've never heard anyone quite nail it the way he nailed it. And yeah, it's unreal. It's like surge music. I hear it being called sometimes.
There's a lot of
surge music.
There's a lot of debate of, well, I mean, it's like there's Hex it's Hex D rather, excuse me, and Surge are like the two overlapping genre terms, and people don't like some of it to be called Surge and some to be called. It depends on who you ask, honestly. There's differentiating factors, but overall,
we're gonna have to ask Carlu 123 what it's called.
They're the same. They're not the same, but it's the same headspace.
Well, whatever it ends up being classified as over time, I just think it was batshit, and I was like super down for it. Rodeo Glow is really dope. I thought Gladiator Season 2 by Space Ghost Perp and Trip Jones was really, really good too.
Yeah.
I thought Blade's mixtapes were pretty solid this year too.
Yeah, I thought Blade shit was really good that I heard, and again, trying to reserve my words because this is for a future episode. Probably more in the future than the previous one I was trying to reserve my words for. But yeah, this was my first real exposure to Blade, and I've heard that some dudes will listen to Bladee but never be with a lady. But,
that's me. I am dudes.
What I also thought was good was, I think this one came out way early. This was like January 6th, I think it came out. Was the Blood In, Blood Out mix by Denzel Curry.
That shit was fire.
Great.
Yeah, that was better than Unlocked.
I would say 99% of everything Denzel Curry put out this year was fire. There was 1%. There was a 1%.
Oh, I do know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I haven't been following him too much outside of like his album releases, but I
don't know. Do you want to show him it? I don't know.
Somebody want to tell him? Well, Denzel Curry was a part of Pig Feet, which fucking rules.
Yeah, Pig Feet.
But he was
of the year.
Yeah, but he was also a part of this song called Lemonade, which was not one of the best.
Oh, I'm seeing that right now. Young Blood and Denzel Curry.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard about this song. I didn't even hear about it on RYM. I heard about it on Instagram or something. I heard it was really bad. I don't know if I want to listen to this.
Yeah, it's really bad. You heard correctly.
It's really bad. The fact that
the coveted 1 point something rating on RYM. That's
no,
that's scary.
That's the rare accurate RYM rating.
God, that shit sucks.
But first comment I'm reading on RYM. What the hell is this? LOL. Like, oh Jesus.
But yeah, he, I guess, earned the right to do that because he also had Unlocked, which the Trap Mad Villainy, one of the best albums of the year.
Oh, the trap mad villainy. God. Fucking hate this website.
I fucking hate this website that I've spent over a decade on.
Way too much time on, yeah.
I like the site. I just try to keep it like very self-contained. I try not to go too far into places that I know I'm gonna be annoyed at, and that's how I keep myself liking it. Like I comment boxes and some albums I can't.
Dude, Christian goes into those descriptor comment boxes and just goes off.
I do. No, I have my moments, especially when I'm at work and there's nothing going on. I can be a bit much, but you know.
It's a good thing that my job throttles the fucking Wi-Fi. Otherwise, I would go ham.
That's the reason. Half the reason why I go ham on RYM is literally because I'm like working and I have nothing to do, and I just have all the time in the world to just like write shit.
Oh, no, like I used to have no time at my job because I would work my ass off, and I just recently got a promotion. Now I have all the time for like half the time at my job, but thankfully my Wi-Fi sucks, so I can't do shit. Like I try to, and now I just play word games that don't require the internet.
That's phenomenal.
It's probably better for you.
Way better for you.
Keeping your brain away from bad RYM takes.
I don't ever go on the genre pages anyway, because I once tried to change the genre thing because shout out to Sometime and possibly Never Again host Jermaine Sin JVT. I tried to upvote a genre tag and somebody was really mean to me and I was really mean to them back, and you know, things happened.
Things happen.
I got really heated, and I made a thread about it. Not a thread, like a little like list post sort of deal about people. There have been numerous comments in the clipping album sections. The most recent
let's talk about
albums.
Disappointments. Let's talk about Visions of Borings being boring.
Well, that's my second favorite album of the year, so I can't attest to that. But everybody has the right to dislike what they like.
Like supporting Hamilton. Y'all like supporting Hamilton?
I mean, I thought it was dope, but everybody is entitled to their opinion. And if you didn't like, I can see why someone would hate it. I can totally see why someone would hate it, but I don't. So
clipping.
I can see why somebody would like supporting Hamilton.
Hamilton?
I can't actually.
I mean, I'm not gonna blame Diggs for getting that Hamilton money. Like, are we really gonna blame him for that?
I mean, okay. I'll stop with the Hamilton Diggs. No pun intended.
Like, I don't like Hamilton, but if I could be in Hamilton and make that money,
the album is boring as shit, dude. Like, he's just doing the same shit he's done the past two albums. Like, the last album at least had the fucking closer, which was like interesting. Like,
I mean, I haven't heard anything on his other ones, like Pain Every Day. That was pretty unique.
That was a song that I liked from it.
That was crazy.
Yeah. You made fun of it on your log.
I did, and I still would. But I never said that I hated clipping. They're just mid. They're just mid to me. That's what they are.
They're mid. This album's mid. Like, I don't know.
Right. Sorry. Like I said, Pain Every Day was a song that I liked from it, but I didn't say I liked the album.
You didn't say you liked it. You made fun of the. I don't know. This shit.
No, I didn't make fun. I didn't. No. I know what you're talking about. I put Pain Every Day because I said it like describes me or something like that. I said that on my.
You also said it described them. I think you said like this describes Clipping's discography.
No, I think that was Mid City. I said
that.
Look, this album's fucking boring. I don't know. It all sounds very monochrome to me. I don't know. Like, it sounded like all the quote-unquote adventurous shit they were doing was shit they'd done previously before. I only listened to it once, okay? I've only listened to it once. So maybe if I listen to it again, I'll get something more out of it.
No, I mean, look, I'm always in support of the idea of if you don't like it, you just don't like it. Like, it's okay. Like, you know, nobody should force themselves to, like, try to like something. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. Like Led Zeppelin's not my thing, but
yeah, it's good. Led Zeppelin's fucking trash. I agree with you. Fucking fuck Led Zeppelin.
They're pretty not my thing, but you know, it's like it's whatever. And I can totally see like between how weird clipping is and how that you have that like theatery sort of sound, why someone would not like it. But I don't know. I fuck with it.
Oh, so this was like a trap. You're like, oh yeah, Led Zeppelin sucks, but actually Led Zeppelin's cool.
No, Led Zeppelin, like, I don't think they suck. They're just not for me. Like, I think they play the instruments well. It's like,
well, okay, there are like prog bands that play instruments well and they're boring, and Led Zeppelin play instruments well and they're appealing to people. Like, they're at least appealing to certain, like, I don't think I'm explaining this well. Like, I don't like them either. Like, I agree with you, but I think they at least have appealing, like, elements to people, whereas there are a million bands out there that are just, like, boring as shit and have no appealing elements. That do the same shit as Led Zeppelin. I don't know.
Interesting.
Bad radio. Taylor Swift is trash.
We keep hitting.
But I was trying to say about clipping, though. It wasn't even about the music.
Clipping also is boring. Okay, Clipping has one really good album that I enjoy, Splendor and Misery, where I think that they actually do their shit well. And then they have an album after that I think they do it kind of well. And then it's like diminishing returns before and after.
Like, I mean, they were never huge for me up until they started doing the horrorcore stuff, but I love the horrorcore.
I don't ever really do horrorcore, though. Like, I feel like it's always soft shit with him. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's always an exercise with him, dude. Like, it's always an exercise. Like, he's like a theater rapper.
Yeah. But I mean, he's the only guy making the kind of music that he's making in hip hop. Not like industrial hip hop, but his take on it.
Saul Williams still making music.
But it's not exactly like how Clipping does.
Also,
and I love Saul. He's great. I'm not saying that in a negative way. It's just I find them to be pretty unique, and that's what I like about them. They're unique, but they're not like beat you over the head. Oh, we think we're better than hip hop unique.
I kind of think he does, though, sometimes. Like, I think that's the whole nature of Clipping, though, is like we're doing a concept. Even Splendor and Misery, which is great. Like, even the Saul Williams album, like, okay, I'm doing a fucking, like, and I have it at a 10, by the way. It's one of my favorite albums. But he did a rock album with Rick Rubin. Like, that's like, I'm better than hip hop. And I think that's what Clipping does. Like, we're better than hip hop.
I don't know. I mean, they've had interviews explaining that to people like who think that, and they're like, no, we really are just trying to do our own thing, but that's not how we really feel. And I think
so they had interviews where they just kind of bullshitted people and lied.
Well, I mean, they could a lot, but you know, I don't know. For me, I just when I hear it, I like it.
Fair enough. You hear it, you like it. No, yeah.
Well, what I was saying, though, it isn't so much about their music. It's in the comment boxes, I was seeing people saying, oh, Clipping or like gentrifying hip hop. And I was like, man, like, how are you going to tell a black guy he's like gentrifying black music? Like, I get it if you think it's too artsy, but like, it's a little bit of a tone deaf statement in my opinion.
Nobody can go on an RYM comment box and tell anybody he's gentrifying shit. Like, that's kind of
and that's what I mean. Like, when I'm at work and I'm popping off, like that was one of like my peak examples. I was just fucking nothing to do, and I was like, oh wow, I'm just gonna.
I mean, I can totally see why that would set you off. Yes, I get that. This is definitely, by the way, our most like why it's gonna be listening to this episode and being like, what am I supposed to do with this crap?
I think to your point about I saw your list, Christian, and I was like, God, what an asinine thing to say. Like, not you, but just what you were reacting to, rather. I was like, look, like I said, I have established I personally don't care about Clipping, but like that's just a horrible like thing to say.
I mean, to presume something on somebody else's intent with their own music is just a bullshit thing to do, period.
No, I agree. And like I said, I also like you can hate it, like it's all good. I'm not like some like wuss who like thinks everybody should like what I like, but like critique it in a way that's not bullshit.
Critique it on its own merits, not on what you expect it to be.
Shout out a whole lot of red.
So, yeah,
Tied back in.
it's a good time. I will say,
yeah, tie it back to the end. Tie it in a whole lot of bows. So it's like,
do you I'm looking. I mean, God, there's so much good shit this year that came out. All
right, yeah. You know what? Let's tie it back to the end here. What's the one that is not going to be on your year-end list, but the one thing that you would say is not on your top 10, everybody should hear?
Ooh, good question.
Good question.
God damn, that's a good
Take a dive. I'm going to look back at some of the stuff I've listened to this year. Listened to a lot of music this year. A lot of good stuff.
I mean, we had a lot of time. We've been kind of...
We've been bullshitting about a lot of different shit.
I was just going to say we've been kind of forced inside by a pandemic to listen to music.
That's also true.
Something everyone should listen to. This.
Have you? Christian, have you heard? You probably have heard this. Let me check. Oh, you've heard it. Never mind. The trance album from Doves and WickedPhase. You've heard that.
That was good.
That
was really good. Ultra Club 4K.
Talk about not that I'm surprised about that it was good. I don't know. I just didn't know what to expect. The genres threw me off, and that was crazy good.
That was real good.
Really good. And I know how much you said you love trance music from your past the Travis episode.
Oh yeah. No, trance is fucking. I heard some sample I heard the Strange World sample by Push in there. That I don't know if you guys know that song, Strange World by Push. He's this old, comparatively old trance DJ. Mm-hmm. Oh my god! I heard that sample and I'm like, wow, they're really pulling from the fucking crates right now.
Yeah, that one really hit me. So that was a great record. And I liked WickedPhase, but I never loved a WickedPhase project he was involved with. But that one hit too. What else this year that kind of hit me? Well, anything, and I might talk about this in the top 10, but anything in that. And shout out to Jameson, aka PSW JT on RYM. But he and I just did an episode doing Atlanta underground shit, and that whole scene that's basically in 10K Duncan, Cash, ATL Smook, all those guys, Tony Snow. That whole Atlanta scene was definitely had a big chunk of my listening this year, so there would be honorable mentions in that category.
I think for me, it isn't in my top 10, but it's damn close artist. And the album would be, I don't know if I'm saying the title right here because I don't know how she wants me to pronounce it, but Kick Eye by Arca.
It's a good album.
That was really, really good. The song with Rosalia especially was awesome. KLK, and now I'm looking back at the track list. Yeah, she knocked it out of the park. And the Bjork feature finally happened, which was awesome. I loved seeing them collaborate. And yeah, it was a phenomenal album.
Good shit. Patrick, I know you've heard this. Christian, have you heard the Draco mixtape that came out recently?
I have not, unfortunately.
Really great. The title track, the intro track, shout out to Daniel, friend of the show, also guest. He said title track makes him want to rap. Just the beat, and that's 100% right. It sounds like a beat anyone could freestyle over. Great project.
Yeah, check it out.
Draco being free was one of the lone bright spots of this year.
Fuck the DA.
Fuck the DA. Facts. Jeff Weiss, big part in that. Big part in getting Draco free. All of his reporting on the scenes.
Fuck LA Weekly.
Facts. Honestly.
Yeah, seriously.
Seriously,
fucking corporate media, but
gross.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of my one. I have some contenders for my one album that I would recommend people. I think I might cheat. One of my albums I recommend people this year, and I think it's a really good entry point for if you're looking. And I'm just going to use the umbrella term. If you're looking to get into the hyper pop, whatever you want to call it, stuff. I think Midwest album Secrets is a really great album that's also accessible, but heads who have been like hip to the stuff in the last year love it, and like I think newcomers would love it too. It's got a lot of the major players in the scene. Like Black Winter Wells is all over it. Guido's producing a track. Like Alden, Eric Doa, or Eric Doa, however they pronounce it. They're all over it, and it's a super good, super like really cool like pop rap, cloud rap kind of album. It's pretty accessible, and I think it's easily one of the best albums in the scene. It might be the best. I'm not sure. It's one of them though, and it's that one that I recommend to either one of you because I think it's a cool entry point for.
What was the title of it again? I'm gonna write it down.
It's called Secrets. It's by Midwest. Midwest is not spelled like Midwest though. It's Mid WXST. Midwest.
WXST. Oh, so it's like the Raider hieroglyphics.
Yeah. He's 17, I believe.
Dude, the Zoomers are killing it with music. Honestly, there's so many talented people who are like in their late teens, early 20s right now. It's sick.
I'm telling you, man, like really, really growing up with like the internet. Like, I mean, because our, Christian, like our era grew up with the internet like crazy. But the people, like my brother is 16 and like their age, it's so different.
Group in the middle of it. Like,
yeah.
They're as old as the DS if they're 16. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, well, I want to rap for the really old ass people like myself and talk about the Wrecking Crew, who are old people from Philly, and Nihilist Millennial, who are Alaska, who was on an episode, who was repping on the episode that I did with Battered Sphinx about Cannibal Ox, the Cold Vein. He was a feature on that, Alaska. Nihilist Millennial.
Oh, from Adam's Family?
Yeah, from Adam's Family. Yeah, Nihilist Millennial did that album with Zilla Rocca, and that's one of the best albums I've heard this year. And you should hear that shit. The first track on that is called "Get Off My Lawn." That's that "Get Off My Lawn" rap. Yeah, no, it's one of the. You will love that shit. Trust me. Yeah. There's Blue Edwards, which has raps for people who watched Lost, which is a terrible show, but it's fucking funny. Save the cheerleader, save the world. I don't know what that means, but I guess that
Isn't that Heroes?
I don't fucking know.
That's a NBC. I think that's.
The joke is that I don't know what the references are, dude. Yeah. Stop spoiling the fucking joke. And Midnight Suns is actually on my year-end list, but Wrecking Crew is something like Midnight Suns is one of my best albums of the year, but Wrecking Crew otherwise has put out a ton of good shit this year. So I want to rep them. I want to rep Vic Spencer, who has put out 4 amazing albums this year. He put out No Sean Skemps. Shout out to Sean Kemp, who was one of the best centers in the NBA, even when he got seriously overweight. Shout out to the Seattle Sonics.
May they come back.
May they rest in peace.
I will, Christian. I will give you a trap recommendation. Both of you. Homicide Boyz.
I'm done.
I'm kicking it back to you. I'm just throwing it out there. We got time.
Are you shitting on Gary Payton's memory?
Gary Payton, great player, great defender.
Thank you.
Great defender.
Yeah. Sean Kemp was like, everybody likes to give Shaq. Like, I don't know how Sean Kemp was from the line, but he was probably better than Shaq was.
I don't know.
Accomplishment, I don't know. But still.
I don't know his free throw percentage off the top of my head.
I don't know. What kind of sports journalist are you?
That's true. I am, as the resident sports guy on the pod, I should know what Sean Kemp's free throw percentage was in his career. You
should be, if I prompt you about Sean Kemp's free throw percentage off the top of your head, you should know it.
All over it. Yeah, I mean, I guess my my recommendation was if you like more energetic trap rap, Gunu and I know the name is, it's gonna sound bad, but Lil Dude and Gunu. Lil Dude, yeah, I know.
Hey man, if I like Lil Ugly Mane, I'll give Lil Dude a shot.
Fair
But
enough,
they have 2 collaborations, one of which came out this year. Homicide Boyz 2. It is doing, and this is not just me caping for it, because as Look at Ghost has it 4.5 stars. So it's not just me saying it's good.
I like how Look at Ghost is the unspoken
The arbiter of
good internet music.
I mean, he has not steered us wrong thus far, so.
True.
He is a major reason for how I returned to the Space Ghost perp cult. So whether he knows it or not, so shout out to Look at Ghost.
I mean, he does have some SGP at 1 star.
Well, SGP has some 1-star music, but
I'm saying
he's got way better music than what.
He's not just putting SGP all his shit at 4 stars.
Mm-hmm.
So.
The Wawa single 4 stars.
Straight sheets. That was straight sheets.
I loved the SGP single Dade County from this year. That fucking hit.
Oh yeah, that was
on a label. I was like, wow.
That was a good song. That was really good.
SGP kind of failed us in 2020.
Well, Gladiator season 2 was hard as fuck.
Well, he dropped a tape that was just like older songs that he produced, which is not a bad thing. It was good. But they weren't like new songs.
Anyway, everybody shut the fuck up. My answer for this question was Blue in Exile Miles, which is a tape.
Very good album.
Nobody has the time to listen to because it's the length of a movie.
Yeah.
But it's a really fucking good album.
You know who else had a good album? I want to shout this out. He's an OG in hip hop. Paris. He had an album, and the title sounds
Safe Space Invader. Good ass album. Good ass album.
It has such a cringy it could have a very cringy name. Like you could think it's some like
it sounds like a fucking Bill Burr fucking stand up album title.
Yeah. But it's not. It's like this really good leftist rap album with great production.
Like he doesn't even like hate trans people on it or anything.
No, he's like legit. He's dope. Like it's. I thought, oh no, is he gonna have like a boomer moment on us finally? And I was like, nope.
Nah, it's not okay boomer rap. It's straight up hard ass shit that doesn't even like take a breath. It's a good ass 8 out of 10 rap album.
Mm-hmm. And it was just good to see him not make a boomer album, given the title and the fact that he's like kind of older. And I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I
not this.
Do some dumb ironic. I'm gonna go over a trap song to do it. No, he just goes over shit he's comfortable over.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're going to hear one shit that's not on my top 10, I would say Blue in Exile Miles. It's a long album, but it deserves your time.
Very good album. I co-sign.
And I hope we deserved your time too, because I think we've taken about 4 hours of it. And we are all living off borrowed time. Christian, thank you for taking some of ours. And our outro music is Stagnated Pace by Can Kick. Thank you, and we hope you join us for the second half of this episode.
It ain't gonna never stop. 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 It ain't gonna never stop.
time will tell. Time is yet to be conquered by man. But when the time is right, perhaps the greatest revelation of all time will dawn upon us.